praise and we thank you for this day, Lord, for the opportunity to come here together, Lord, to share in these songs, Lord, of praise and to lift to you. Lord, to lift these prayers to you, Lord, the prayer requests that you know in each of our hearts, Lord, we lift to you. Lord, we lift each other up. Lord, we lift this community up. Lord, we pray for the people out there who don't know you, Lord, that they would come to know you, Lord, through our actions, through the actions of other brothers and sisters Christians out there, Lord, that they come to know you as well. Lord God, we just continue to praise you and thank you for being such a loving and gracious Lord, for being a Lord that forgives. And we value it, we do. Lord God, we just praise you and thank you for this day, Lord. Lead and guide Joey as he comes to speak to us here in a little while, Lord. Let your word shine through. God directs us in everything we do, Lord. In the name of Jesus, we pray.
Good morning. We're praying to sing all out this morning. Move that song. Let me look at my list over here and see how far along we are. Okay, y'all ain't got to stand up right now. Yeah. But if you know this one, y'all sing along. Rodney always, he shows up at practice sometimes. He says, why don't y'all do whatever? Sometimes we do. Sometimes we don't do it. I do have this list wrote out here, and we come to look at it. We don't know what we're going to do. It's not my fault this time. I might have been behind the list. What little more. But, hey, and just in case y'all didn't know, we smart drummers, it's good to have people who can pick up the slack whenever somebody's out, you know. Ricky's over there with his foot propped up acting like he's bothering, so Bryson was able to fill in, and I think we got one other drummer here somewhere, so maybe two, so we can always find somebody to fill in. This is the band player. Tell you what, we're gonna skip. Y'all stand up. I want y'all to move around, shake hands with somebody, tell them it's good to see you. Don't mind them though, they good to see you. We're gonna play a little while.
number.
If you want to keep up with what we're up to, for the most part, there's some bulletins back there on the table when you walk in the hall. And it's got pretty much a list of everything we are doing. We may throw something in there sometime or another that's spur of the moment. But for the most part, this is what we got going on now. So in way of announcements, we got, it's not a wheel shop, it's a pound. Pound? It is, but it ain't. All right. All right. There's a pounding for Daphne and there, right after church, 11 o'clock, well, 11 o'clock, I don't know what their church is. Be a rope and run today. It's going to be at the Agri Center, just in case it does come a month soon. It's rained a little bit, so it's going to be at the Agri Center. It'll start at 4. There'll be a rope and run the 22nd. And then Fall Bash will be the 28th, so we'll probably need as much help as we can get with Fall Bash. There'll be a ranch rodeo at the Fall Bash right after the barrel race. So possibly, it says possibly Fall. I guess it is determined on how many barrel races we have. But another rope and run will be November 12th, and then our next one will be the rope and run ceremony to give everybody their belt buckles, winners, and all that. And I think there's head stalls. I don't know what I'm giving away. But the 19th will be also the last day to bring our shoebox out of stuff for the Operation Christmas Child. There's a list back here on the table beside the double doors of all the stuff that you can or cannot put in there. And there's stuff in that you can't bring that you used to could bring. You can bring toothbrushes, but you can't bring toothpaste. So you brush your teeth with that toothpaste. I don't know why that is, but there's stuff that you can't bring anymore. So there's a list back there. So pick you up one of those so you know what you can and can't bring. We don't want them to pull it out and discard it when we send it. So just get that list, and we will have I said we'd have a box last Sunday. We're going to just put it in the corner over here. Whatever you bring, we'll put it in the corner. We'll secure it to a room or somewhere, and we will have a packing box. We'll pack those shoe boxes on the 19th. I think is what we're planning on doing. Our goal is to reach 400. So we all to a late start on that. So we're gonna have to get working to get down 400 of them. Is there? Later? Yeah, somebody like Jimmy told me, he said, I can't remember to do that stuff. He said, but I'll give money. So if you want to give money to that, you don't have time to shop or whatever, we take it and we go and buy bunches of stuff. We have a day where the youth does that too. So they'll do it on a Saturday usually, and go and buy a bunch of stuff. So if you want to do that, and you don't have time to shop, or you just don't want to look at that list that's back there, because it is a little writing, you might not can read it. So, but if you want to donate money to that, we'll buy it. Anything else?
All the earth rejoice, all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide. It trembles at his voice, it trembles at his voice. How great is our God, sing me, how great is our God, and all will see how great is our God. Age and age he stands, his heart within his hands, beginning and the end, beginning and the end. The Godhead three in one, Father, Spirit, Son, Lion and the Lamb, Lion and the Lamb. How great is our God, sing me, how great is our God, and all will see how great is our God. You have a name above all names, and you are worthy of all praise. And my heart will sing, how great is our God. You have a name above all names, and you are worthy of all praise. And my heart will sing, how great is our God. Great is our God, sing with me, how great is our God, and all will see how great is our God.
chapter 4, and several other places. Okay, I want to hear you a little better now. I'll do it. Roger, can you pray for us real quick? I had an idea all week about kind of where I wanted to go with today. I got home last night and started trying to put my thoughts together. And I don't know how applicable this is going to be today, but I just need something in my hands. They didn't have fidget spinners when I was a kid. This was my fidget spinner. So sometimes I just feel more comfortable having something in my hand. But got home last night and started trying to put it together. And I got home and had the verses in my mind that I wanted to use and what I wanted to say. And I looked them up, started reading through them again, and it didn't make any sense to me. And I thought, what was I thinking? And realized after a little bit that maybe that just wasn't what was supposed to go together by the time I got to the end of the week. Started looking at some things, and I got to thinking about some stuff that had happened during the day, and I picked up a book the other day by Max Lucados. It's the title of the book is his new book, Anxious for Nothing. I hadn't got to read very much of it at all, but I got to read just a couple of paragraphs of it yesterday at the rodeos. I was reading that one and reading a couple of others, and made me get to thinking about myself with stuff that was going on and how the day was kind of progressing. And how many of you, a lot of you here have seen Winnie the Pooh? I know the older folks know who Winnie the Pooh is, and I'm thinking all the younger folks do too. But Eeyore, you know, everybody's got to know Eeyore. Well, if there's a human version of Eeyore, that's me. That's just, I'm negative most of the time, and the sky is not always falling, but it is about to. So it's just that's the way that I've always been. And I was reading this book, and it was some of us sitting at Mike and Amy's trailer. And when I read this paragraph, I had to read it out to them because it was like a description of me. And I know that. And I'm always trying to work on it, but I'm not real good at always getting it done. On Sunday mornings, a lot of times, what you guys see up here is me trying to make Scripture applicable to me. Because I got a little bitty brain, and sometimes I got to get it down on my level where I can understand it. And I got to make it make sense to me before I can actually get it. And I kind of have to think about it and start trying to apply it to other things. But if you got your Bibles open to Matthew chapter 6, we're going to look at one verse from Matthew chapter 6, and we're going to look at a couple of other verses from 1 Timothy and some stuff from Philippians. But in Matthew chapter 6, on the Sermon on the Mount, in verse 33, Jesus says, "But seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness,
and all these things will be added to you. And he follows that up in verse 34. Therefore, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. If you would now flip over to 1 Timothy chapter 4. And we mostly want to focus here on verse 8 of chapter 4 of 1 Timothy, but we're going to start reading in verse 7, but we'll be looking mostly at the second part of verse 7, verse 8. But it says, have nothing to do with irreverent, silly myths. Rather train yourself for godliness. For while bodily training is of some value, godliness is of value in every way, as it holds promise for the present life, and also for the life to come. The saying is trustworthy and deserving of full acceptance. For this end we toil and strive, because we have our hope set on the living God, who is the Savior of all people, especially of those who believe. Now flip back just a couple more pages. You ain't got to go far. Page 982 in my Bible. I don't know about yours. But to Philippians chapter 4. And we're going to start reading verse 8 there also. It says, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there's any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things. What you've learned and received and heard and seen in me. Practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you. Let's pray. Father, I thank you for each and every person that's here today. Father, I thank you for the breakfast you provided this morning. Father, for those that prepared it. Father, I thank you for the wonderful worship music that we've had this morning. Father, and how hard the worship team gets up here and works and practices and comes to do to make that sound so great on Sunday. Father, I thank you for this. Father, I ask now as we go in this time of study, Father, that you'll open up your word to us. And Father, I ask that you remove my words from me and that you replace them with yours and yours alone. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Now, as I was trying to get a lot of this stuff situated in my brain last night, as I was sitting there and trying to pull some of it together, and these verses kept coming together, and a lot of times I like to look at it and say, you know, that's got to go together, and sometimes stuff comes together and it doesn't really. I was talking about seeking first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. And, you know, not being anxious about tomorrow, because tomorrow's going to take care of itself. There's plenty of trouble today. You know, it's one of those things that there's plenty of stuff that's going to happen today. You ain't got to worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. And most of the time, the stuff we're worried about is not even going to happen anyway. It's not ever going to come. But seeking first the kingdom of God and what that really should mean for me. I can't remember exactly how old I was the first time I picked up a rope. First time I picked up a rope was somewhere in the 80s. I don't know, I wasn't real old. But at that point in time, I was going to start heating. That was my plan. Jennifer Harrison's husband, Barry, was going to be my header. I was going to be his heater. That was the plan. And I was trying to figure out how you'd make a fake cow foot. Because I had never actually seen anything other than a picture of team roping. I had never been to a team roping. And I was trying to figure out how to do that. And then whenever you kind of made one out of the two before and you cut it and you turned it and all that stuff, it looked like it was impossible to rope that thing. Years later, I do know it was impossible to rope that thing because that wasn't the way you start out doing it. But that's the way I was thinking you do that. Well, somehow or another, I progressed and ended up starting to head it. And whenever it was time to head, I wanted one of them plastic guns. And we'd go to mowers and I wanted one, we didn't get one, and money wasn't something we had in overabundance. But we was always trail riding. And we rode down in the bottom, and somebody, you know, back in the day, people took their garbage and just dumped it down in the bottom. So we were riding down in the bottom, and there were some old bicycles there, and I knew those bicycles was there. When I got ready to rope, I kind of looked at my bicycle, and I looked at the handlebars of my bicycle, and I thought, you know, that really looks kind of like a set of horns turned around backwards. So I thought about tearing mine apart, and I decided, no, that's a bad idea. So I got on my horse, and I went down in the bottom, we found those, we went back down there in the wagon, and we got one of the bicycles and brought it home. unbolted the handlebars off of that thing, and we tore it apart. And I took a sawhorse, a little bitty short sawhorse, and I turned those handlebars around, I put them on there, and they were pointed out, and I took some tacks, and I nailed it down, and I started roping that thing. And I can't tell you how many times I roped those handlebars. When I actually got to where I had a part-time job and could afford to go out and get a horn set, I didn't go get one. This was sometimes whenever I was an early teenager. I didn't have an actual plastic head to rope until I was married. I just roped my bicycle horn. It was kind of the same thing, but no problem. I could just rope those horns. Before that, I roped a bucket. And I can't remember, again, what age I was. There's way too much stuff up there. I'm scared to death if I start swinging this. I'm going to hang the microphone. And I hope you got all the things off, because I might get one. But anyway, I was trying to rope a 5-gallon bucket. And it was sitting out here, and I was roping that bucket. Sometimes it's hard to keep a rope on a bucket. Some of y'all got some blank ropes this morning. Some of y'all know what we're talking about. But Daddy used to rope when he was younger. And he come along, and he said, let me show you how to rope that bucket. He walked up, and he was just walking. He was roping. He kicked that bucket. It went about as far as that microphone over there. And he roped it in the air and snatched and slack and dropped it right there. He said, now when you can do that, you can go rope somewhere. So that's pretty impressive. He just rolled the rope up, handed me the rope back, walked off. I can't tell you how many times I kicked that bucket trying to rope it. I could kick that bucket, and I could rope to where it went through the loop, but I couldn't pull my slack that fast. Now, I know years later that was a one-off thing. He got lucky and he didn't try it again. But I put in hours and hours and hours with a rope. I'd rope the dummy 100 times in the morning. I'd go do something else. I'd rope the 100 times about lunchtime. And late that afternoon, I'd rope them handlebars another 100 times. Half the time I was always backing in the box, and in my mind, I was throwing that thing, and I was at the NFL. And he's here today, so I'm going to say it to him here, because I'd say it if he wasn't here. Half the time I was backing in the box, and it was Tim Roberts on the right side, and it wasn't Eric Maloney that rope was heading for him at the rodeo, it was me. That was what it was in my mind back then. And I was in there, and I roped that thing, and I roped that thing, and I rope it 200-300 times a day, because I wanted to get good at it. I wanted to be able to go to the show, and I wanted to be able to rope something. Because, and I wanted to be able to rope that bucket, because it took me years to get smart enough to understand that was a one-off deal. I thought I could catch that bucket. And I tried to do that, and I worked on that stuff, and I lived with that rope in my hand. And that's what I wanted to do, and then got saved, got married, got out of roping and rodeoing and everything else for a little while. I started playing golf. And if I wasn't in a Cowboy church, if I was at a regular Baptist church, I'd probably use a golf club. But, so I did the same thing with golf. I hit that little white ball thousands of times. You know, if you're standing on a par 5 and you got to hit it, that ball's about that big around. The cup's 4 inches round, and if you're standing on a par 5, it's a quarter of a mile away, and you get to hit that ball 5 times before you put it in a hole 4 inches around, a quarter mile from where you're standing. That takes a lot of practice to do that. So I put in the time, and I worked at it, and I worked at it, and I worked at it. It's kind of like I ain't a real good roper. I sure enough wasn't a real good golfer, but I got better. I got to where I could go, and I could compete, and I could play in some tournaments, and we won a little money playing in some tournaments. A little bit of stuff here and there. I got a trophy stuck back at the house that I won one year at the club championship. But I would work at it. I'd put the ball across the carpet, and I would putt, and I would putt, and I would putt, and I did everything that I could to get better. Well, whenever I started back roping, I can't tell you the exact date. I could figure it up. I can tell you it was on the Sunday before JoJo was born that week. Can't tell you exactly the date. I just know it was that Sunday. And started back roping. Well, first thing I did was borrow a horse. And then went out and bought 3 more within a couple of months. But I roped that dummy. And I roped that dummy. And I roped that dummy. And I roped that dummy. Because I knew that's what it was going to take for me to get to be decent at it. to where I could go to a roping and be able to compete and go and do it. We went over to Wayne and Doug's pen whenever it was 30 degrees outside. And Wayne was pretty dedicated to it at the time, but it was so cold even Wayne wouldn't rope with us. We were just kind of out there. And we roped and we roped and we roped to try to get better. And you say, how's all that applicable to what you're talking about today? About seeking first the kingdom of God. You know, so often in my life, actually most of the time, I haven't sought after God with the same intensity, the same desire that I sought after being good with a rope. It's kind of a passing thing. You pick up God's Word, you spend 15 minutes at it, and you move on. I push my kids to be out there to practice a bunch because we're going to go do it. I'm like, hey, this is a lot of money that we're fixing to go spend. We can go to some of these shows and win money and still come up in the hole when there's 3 of us out there roping. You can't hardly win enough to come out whenever you do that. So I'm out there pushing them to practice. I'm telling them they got to ride their horses and all these things that I'm telling them to do. And I'm pushing and pushing, saying, come on, y'all got to do it. And I don't make them do it. But I tell them, if you're going to go, you got to get out there and do it. I'm not going to keep paying you money if you're not going to practice. So they'll get out there and they'll practice. And I think about how anxious that I am. Now, Paul tells us in 1 Timothy chapter 4, as we read it, for while bodily training is of some value. Some value. Not a lot. Now, telling you, exercise is good for you. You need some of it. It's got some value to it. The things that I'm pushing, it's got some value to it. For them to be able to practice and get better. But it shouldn't be the most important thing that I push them toward. And I find a lot of times that it is, because a lot of times it's way too high up my priority list. But yet then I get nervous and I get anxious and I get to worry about what tomorrow's going to bring and what tomorrow's going to hold. And there's nothing that we can do today to take care of what might happen tomorrow. I've worried an awful lot about an awful lot of stuff I can't control over the last few weeks. Worried about stuff that in the end of the day is not ever going to matter and not something, like I said, that I can control. And worrying and worrying and worrying hadn't added one hair to my head. And even if it could, I'm going to let Brianna shave them all off one day this week. So they wouldn't have got nothing out of it anyway. So we don't get anything out of it. Worry, though, will keep us from seeking God and putting God first and seeking His kingdom. Worry about what we're going to be able to accomplish, what we're going to be able to do. Worrying about end results that we can't really control. As I practice my roping and stuff, it's supposed to be fun. A lot of times you get out there and you do it so much it turns into a job. It's not fun anymore. I don't ever spend that amount of time trying to seek the kingdom of God. I spend so many more hours with the ropes than I do with my Bible. When you add it up over a month's time, it's kind of scary. I spend so much time doing other things that it kind of gets scary. It tells us on further in 1 Timothy 4 and 8, it says, godliness is of value in every way. How are we going to have godliness in our life? The only way we're going to do that is if we're going to try and we're going to seek and desire, train ourselves up. That's what it says in verse 7. It says, rather, train yourself for godliness. Now that implies there's something you got to do. I can talk about roping a whole bunch. We can talk about it. There's a lot of folks in here that's trying to learn. We can talk an awful lot about it. But till we go do it, we really ain't roping. Eventually, you got to pick up the rope and go try. We can talk about how great God is until we decide we're going to spend the time it takes for Him to show Himself to us, that we can get to know Him. We're not going to be able to walk the way that we should. We're going to be able to talk it. We're going to be able to say all the right things, but we're not going to be doing all the right things. How are we going to get there? Philippians chapter 4 and 8, as it tells us to focus on whatever is true and whatever is honorable, whatever is just and pure, lovely and commendable. If there is any excellence, anything worthy of praise, think about these things. That's usually not what we think about. We'll go to the practice pen, not often, but when we do get to practice, we'll go and if we're running cows, we might run 15, 20 head. And we'll run them through. If I'm having a good night, I'm going to catch most of them. But whenever I ride out of the pen at the end of the night, it's not the ones that I caught that I'm focused on. I'm fussing about the 2 or 3 that I missed and what I should have done different. Not focused on, we had a couple of really good runs. A couple of things really went good. I'm focused on what went bad. Well, our Christian life is a lot the same. We focus on all the bad stuff. We focus on all the bad stuff that's going on in the world, and there's plenty of it. It doesn't take long. If you turn on the evening news, you're going to see tons and tons of it. If you've got cable and turn on Fox News or CNN, well, they're just churning it out. If you look on Facebook, it's just churned out. It's just bad news on top of bad news. So it's easy to get focused on that. When we look at our lives, we do the same thing. We get focused on all the bad stuff. And then we start to get defeated. We don't spend the time focused on the good things. Focused on the things that we need to make us able to grow. Verse 9 says, what you have learned and received and heard and seen, practice these things. When my dad I had that bucket sitting there, Daddy come up and kicked that bucket, and he roped it. There was nothing I wanted more than to be able to roast that bucket. To be able to walk up, kick that bucket, rope it, pull it back, hand him the rope, and say, I got mine, it's time for you to get another. There's nothing I wanted more than to practice that, because I seen him do it. So I wanted to accomplish the same thing. I should desire to seek after God because I've seen what He's done for me. That should be motivation enough, just like I had that motivation to try to rope a stinking 5-gallon bucket. I ought to have that same kind of motivation to seek after God because I've seen what He's done for me. I've seen the price that He's paid through the giving of His Son for me. And yet far too often, when I pick up my Bible, I got to take the dust and rake the dust off because it sits there too long. Far too often, I don't start praying until something goes bad. I keep Him in His little box over here, and I pull God out when I need Him. And I don't really want Him messing with this little thing I got going on in my life. And then when things get tough and things get bad, I start wanting to pray. I'm out looking for stuff. I'm doing whatever I'm doing. And I'm not seeking God first. I'm seeking Joey first. I'm seeking what makes me happy. I'm seeking what keeps me satisfied. I'm seeking the things that keeps me from being overly anxious. But I'm not seeking God first. I'm not trying to train myself in godliness. I'm not practicing what I've seen in others. I see people who have faith that is solid as a rock. They never waver, they never wonder. They're solid. You sit down and you talk to those folks and you ask them how. How are you able to do that? They're going to tell you, I just let God take care of the things I can't handle. Well, how do you do that? Well, I know Him. Spend time building that relationship. Practicing. Being with Him. That should be enough motivation for me to desire to do those things because I see the results in people's lives. But yet, I always seem to find something else that's more important. Something else that I'd rather do. It's just seek God first. Romans chapter 12, verse 9. There's a description there of how we should be. It says, let love be genuine. Ignore what is evil. Hold fast to what is good. Love one another with brotherly affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. Do not be slothful in zeal. Be fervent in spirit. Serve the Lord. Rejoice in hope. Be patient in tribulation. Be constant in prayer. Contribute to the needs of the saints and seek to show hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse them. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Weep with those who weep. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be haughty, but associate with the lowest. Never be wise in your own sight. Repay no one evil for evil, but give thought to do what is honorable in the sight of all. If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. Beloved, never avenge yourselves, but leave it to the wrath of God, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. To the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink, for by doing so you will heap burning coals on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. You read through that and you look at all the different things that is being written there that we should do. You can't do those things if you don't seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness. Because you can't do those on your own. Most of the stuff that's in there is contrary to the way we normally think, outside of the norm of human nature. The only way we're going to get there is to seek God first. And if we're going to seek Him first, y'all, we got to put forth the same kind of effort in seeking Him and desiring to know Him as we do other things. There's going to be days when it's not going to be easy. When we go rope today, if I rope, there's a chance I'll miss every one of them. If I do, it's probably because I've been doing something stupid. I thought about it Friday night. We're going to a ranch rodeo over in Alabama in a couple weeks, and it's a pretty big one, and it's one we probably ain't got no business going to, but whenever I turned in the team name, I turned in Sandsburg Florence, so if they say anything negative to us, if we don't look good, I'm going to say, well, we got 400 sheep over there. We ain't got a lot of cows. So I think that was the way to cover that up. So I'm putting it on Rod. But Friday night, I was doing a bunch of stupid stuff over here, not really doing what you're supposed to do if you're fixing to go rope on Sunday. Because the way you rope in a ranch rodeo and the way you rope in a regular pen is not the same. You know, a lot of times whenever I get down in my Christian life, if I'm honest, I've been doing something stupid. I haven't been seeking God. I haven't been practicing godliness the way that I'm supposed to. I've been doing something else. My mind's been doing different stuff. My body's not been where it needs to be, honoring God. And whenever the pressure starts to get pretty tough, I haven't been practicing. So that's when my anxiety goes up, and I start to get anxious, and that's when Eeyore comes out. And it may be a blue sky today, but it's going to rain tomorrow. And that's where I end up. Because I'm not practicing the things that I've seen. I'm not honoring God. I'm not putting Him first. A lot of times I barely even let Him make the list. I don't know where you are today. And I don't know where your practice focus is. You can see mine right here most of the time. That's the one thing I practice way too much. But if you're in a spot today where things seem more difficult than they used to, where things are a little bit harder than they were in your Christian life, then maybe you're the same place I am. Maybe you hadn't got God first. Maybe you got something else at the front. Maybe you're worried too much about money. You know, in here today, there's somebody that's going through some kind of tremendous financial hardship. Guaranteed, too many folks in here. There's somebody in here today who's going through some kind of major medical thing that nobody in here knows anything about. There's somebody in here today whose relationships are falling apart. Just too many folks for somebody not to be going through just about everything you can imagine. But when we hit those things, how well we've practiced seeking after God, how well we've put Him first in our life, how well we've trained in godliness is going to start to come out. Are we going to be able to have that peace that only He can give? That peace comes from knowing Him and having a relationship with Him. Spending the time necessary to be able to know Him. I don't know where you are today, and I don't know what you're going through. But seek first His kingdom. Seek first His righteousness. And all that other stuff that plagues your mind will seem a little bit less important. Will seem just a little bit smaller than it does when you don't put Him first. And if you're here today and you don't know Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, there is nothing He wants more for you than for you to know Him. That is His number one desire for you, is that you will know Jesus as Lord and Savior. There's no better day than today to do that. But today's message is one for those that's going through something. Whether it's something real or something created, whether it's just changes in life you have to adjust to. As you put God first, it makes all those things easier. If you haven't practiced, if you haven't trained, when the storm comes, you're going to get pretty nervous, pretty worried, pretty concerned. Today is the day to take Him out of the box and put Him at the forefront of your life and spend ever how many times throwing ever how many loops and ever how many buckets you got to with Him to be able to know that peace that only He can give. Let's pray. Father, thank You for each person that's here. Father, thank You for that peace that only You can give. Father, I don't know about each person that's here. I can only speak for myself. But Father, I know that I need to seek You more. Father, I know that I need to seek Your godliness much more than I do. Father, help me to have the willingness to do that. Father, if there's one here today that knows they've never sought You, Father, maybe today will be the day that they realize that You've already sought them, that You've already paid the price, that You've offered Your Son, Jesus Christ, and that salvation is freely offered through Him. Father, may today be the day that they step forward and, Father, begin to receive that peace that only You can have. And, Father, for those that are here today that's going through something, Father, may You pour that peace out upon them. Father, may You guide them and direct them. Father, give understanding where understanding is needed. Father, we thank You for all that You've already done for us. And Father, we thank You for the things that You're presently doing for us. And Father, I thank You for the things that You're about to do for us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.